in matters disability. And this year, the United National General Assembly, the adopted International Day of Sign Languages, IDSL, and this day will be recognized and celebrated on September 23rd annually, officially starting this year, 2019. The purpose of IDSL is to promote sign language awareness and strengthen the status of sign languages. The World Federation of the Deaf assigns a theme to IW Deaf each year, with the last year's theme being "With Sign Language, Everyone is Included." Now, this year's theme will be Sign Language Rights for All. Also new this year is a sub-theme for each day of the week created by the WFD board. Now, with IDSL falling on the first day of the week, Monday, September 23rd, that was yesterday, the day will have the main theme of Sign Language Rights for All. Now, live in studio, I'm joined with Justice Kimulu, who will be with you in a few. All right, now, of course, as I had mentioned, as I continue to give you the latest developments on matters disability, I'm joined in studio by a very smart gentleman who is pursuing his Bachelor of Arts in Special Studies right here at Kenyatta University's Justice Kimilu. And of course, I will be speaking both in this language and sign language today. It's very interesting how people around the country do not take seriously sign language, but Justice is here to share with us his sentiments and concerns around sign language. And I'm also joined by my sign language interpreter, who is familiar to you, Moses Gitonga, who will also be very, very important and vital through this interview. Justice.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm sure this is going to be very constructive. Yes. So this is going to be very constructive.
Yes.
Yes. So what we want to talk about is this week, officially, because they're going to have this eye contact for him to be able to understand what I'm saying in sign language. He can speak a few words, but I'm sure you will follow and understand why after this particular segment, you'll be able to go out to the institution of special needs and learn a few sign language, words. However, there are reasons for celebrating sign language this week. And you would share with us the reasons of, celebrating sign language in the country.
Thank you for that question. One of the reasons why we must celebrate international sign language,
yes,
it is because long time ago,
yes,
the community of the people have been not able to receive information.
Yes,
and one of the best way for them to learn and to receive information from surrounding is by use of the sign language.
Yes.
And sign language, it means a visual gestural language, just like something that you can see.
Okay.
And confirm that is the information that you want someone to do. For example, if you want to show someone about a cup,
yes,
you use how the cup represented by. You just draw
how it looks
something.
Okay.
You just draw something like how the cup look like. That means when someone look that cup, look that sign, he understand it is a cup.
A cup.
And that is why when the introduction of this communication, it is easier for the people to receive information and to understand what people are talking about.
All right.
And that is the reason why we must celebrate, because today many people in the world are able to receive communication information through that sign language. Furthermore, they can learn through that sign language and be educated people in the society and
Yes, I understand. What just as you were saying is that sign language is very important for the deaf community. A lot of people who are watching today did not realize that the deaf community has its own culture that people need to understand. Now, what he has said very clearly is you use what you see and just try to, bring out what you see in sign language, and that helps us cohabit. However, let's talk about the deaf culture. People know that different cultures and tribes and ethnic groups, but they don't understand that the deaf also have a culture as its own. I want to understand the meaning and the constituents of the deaf culture. Now, Justice is here to help us understand that. Just break it down for us about the deaf culture, which you have touched on, and the constituents, and why it's very important that people interact with these people to also be part of them as a culture.
About deaf culture, there are many cultures that deaf use, but apart from there, some of them are from where they come from. For example, someone is Kikuyu, he keeps some culture of Kikuyu, and he still use them even today. But one of the main culture that they like is they like the time they meet someone. At that time, they expect you to give them the favor.
Okay.
And if the time they come and they approach you and they need something, then instead of you give them the true information, you tell them come next day, and they expect next day the thing to happen true, because in their heart they feel you already are aware of their need.
Okay.
And another culture is about that. Most of the deaf, they like you to use their language, which is basis of Kenyan Sign Language. Many times people like to use to write a word, and sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, when we are using writing information, many deaf do not understand.
Okay.
This is because those deaf, they just learn how to speak through Kenyan Sign Language, but they did not learn just like how we learn it from secondary school and university.
Okay.
Some they end up in class 8, and their expectation is whenever you are communicating with them, just use visual gestural language. That is Kenyan Sign Language. Even in the phone, when you communicate with Kenyan Sign Language, they understand easy, and that is how they expect you to communicate with them.
Wow, that is beautiful. You've given us the grievances and just how to communicate with these people. He's saying you can also use your phone. It's easy, but you can communicate with these people and do not give, false hopes. They like to be told things as they are. Let's talk about the representation and inclusivity. Justice, do you feel that the people with the hearing impairment are represented fully in this country?
Thank you. The people in Kenya, the truth is they are not represented. This is because I can flash back to the one of the county in the Nyanza area.
Okay.
Where it is nominated one of them to represent them. But later, that death was removed instead of identify the true evidence of remove that death.
Okay.
And one thing I understand, the reason why they remove it is because they lack communication to understand the information clearly. And the people in Kenya, their rights, their identification, the people of Kenya, they don't know them. Even if today I go to any office of the government,
okay,
and they see me writing coming with a paper to write something, they just be surprised and then become angry.
Oh.
Talk it like they are angry. Then when you just use the sign, you tell them that we were West here. At that time, they see that person is deaf. Okay, they just have to write, but they wonder how to communicate with the people and then give the full information. And that is why I say if the deaf people are represented in our country, it is easier for all country to have aware of deaf people, and whenever we need certificates being given.
You know, Justice here, just thank you for that, for what you have said. Thank you very much. What he's saying is that the inclusivity here is still inefficient in the country. Now, we're talking about the government offices where he would show up and they still, you know, are shocked that a deaf person has walked in. Well, those are incidents that are still very, you know, alarming in the country. Also, Justice, how did you feel about the Huduma number registration and the census? Were you locked out, as you know, there were information on the same that people with hearing impairment were locked out during the census, and what do you think should be done? All right, so what we're really doing here is to talk about the inclusivity of the people with a hearing impairment. And as you can see, my sign language interpreter is trying to get that to Justice. He is mentioning ideas and concerns of people with impairment, disability not being represented. And I think he's ready to answer this particular question, if they are, and what should be done, what rather should be done so that the representation is efficient. In the area of inclusivity, I can say that some government have been trying to ensure that we have inclusivity. Okay. But that only happens in the area of institution. Okay. But in the area of government office, it has not been inclusive to the deaf people. All right. You will go there and found that the most of the people who are recognized and included in there, they are just normal people. They are just visually, physically, albinism. Okay. And the other mental intellectual people. Okay, all right. But to the mental people, it is few, it is significant. But to the deaf people are most omitted in that area. And that is why inclusivity only occurs in the area of institution. But in the other area of government, it is not in there. All right. That is why we need to create this awareness for them to include us if institutions are shared. That's very, very important. Now, with the help of Moses Gitonga here, Justice, how do we, of course, other Kenyans join you in celebrating sign language, and especially this week in particular? How Kenya can join us on area of how Kenya can join us in celebrating sign language is just understand that there is a way of communication with them. In area of misunderstanding, they can learn sign language. Yes. And the Kenyan government recognize sign language and include it as a subject in the school. Oh, okay. That will improve accessibility of information to the people, and all the people in the community, in the society, are able to communicate with the people. And that is how we can celebrate the sign language. Right. By recognize it as the best language to communicate with the deaf and allow it to be taught in the school. Thank you. This is Justice. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. for coming. That is welcome. And of course, as we wrap up, particularly this particular segment, I have been inspired and I have been challenged to, of course, remember that there is a deaf community and a culture. How about you go out there and look it out? Of course, also with the Kenya Institute of Special Needs, a great respect to that particular institution. But for today, thank you very much, Justus.
Welcome.
Have a good night. And this is my sign language interpreter. Have a good night. All right, now we take a very short break. That is a short breather, but not really a break. And we come back with the latest in the world of sports.